Welcome to Dravo Vein. We deal with all things horror, from telling true horror stories and the backstories that they do not want you to know.
And the dog is growling at the door, and the deputy kid, or the deputy rookie, they came through the front door. Whatever it is in the house. You hear clinking noises, calling noises, all on the hardwood log floor. You hear something coming up the stairs. And the kids are crying, the wife's crying. She's telling the kids, get into the closet, the walk-in closet that has no windows, where the husband has his safe at. And she's telling, barricade yourselves in there. And all that's standing there is the rookie, the dog, and the mom. And you hear something coming up the stairs. You hear something, walking down the hallway, and you hear, it's like claw noises hitting the floor. Then you hear another one. Then you hear a third one. So there's three of something big in the hall. He goes, you can hear sniffing. You hear sniffing. And the kid's got, the rookie is got the shotgun right at the door. And he's like, ma'am, go with your kids.
So Rookie Barney, guns aimed at the door, so whatever comes through that door, it's going to get...
He's telling the mother, I'm going to shoot through the door. I'm not going to let them open the door. And she's like, it's like he's almost asking permission. She's like, do what you got to do. And, it was more of a, she's like, God be with you kind of a thing. And, the kid's like, I'm willing to die for you all. Just let my mom and dad know that I love them kind of thing. The way the mother described it in her report, as soon as she got in there, the kids were screaming and crying. She's hugging, cuddling with them. Out of nowhere, off towards the driveway, you hear a loud growl that doesn't fit their growl. It was more of like a pissed off berserker, a battle war cry. You hear this loud growl, hoot. Then all around that area, you hear whoop, whoop, whoop. It was like a battle cry. Whatever was in the hall stopped. Then you heard growling, different growls, like they're communicating. And then the rookie, in his report, you heard large thumping noises off in the distance getting louder, like a herd of animals. You heard all the claw clinking noises outside the house, inside the first floor of the house, and on the hallway where he's at, scurrying, getting nervous, like running out. This thumping and louding noise is getting louder and louder. It sounded like a herd of horses, cattle. And then you hear whatever's in the hallway running away, scurrying down. And then the back door, you hear a big, large thud hit the ground. And what we needed to tell the people is, outside the back door from the kitchen, about 20 yards, is a rock wall face that they carved out from the hill to put this cabin in. Whatever was on top of that house behind it jumped down, hit the ground, which whatever these creatures were inside the house got scared shitless and went back out the front door. Down at the back door, you hear the back door get crashed in like a big large kick. The door comes crashing down into the kitchen table, and you hear big large thudding footprints in. No claw marks, just thump thump. Then everything goes quiet.
Almost too quiet at this point.
All quiet. Alright. Suddenly on the radio, it's like, what's going on? And the kids, the rookies, like, they broke down the doors. We have something in the house. We need assistance. They're in the house. We found the dog. We're on our way. And then you hear the guys like in the background. The father's like, how's my wife? How's my kids? And he's like, you need to get here. They're in the house. About a minute afterwards, you hear gunshots from the game warden and the sheriff and the father and them. They obviously see something in gunshots. We'll get to their story in a second. We're still at the house. It's all quiet in the house. You don't hear footsteps. You don't hear growling. You don't hear, breathing. You hear nothing. The dog doesn't growl, doesn't stop growling, doesn't whimper, but its ears go up even more and its head's kind of turning. Like there's something else in the house. The dog's guard is not violent. It's more of curiosity, and it sits down and starts whimpering and licking the deputy's, pants leg. And he's like putting his hand down, like, stop. And he's still got his, shotgun in his right hand. He's like, stop, stop. It starts licking his hand like, open the door. Like, don't be afraid what's downstairs. Open the door. And, the mother's like, what's going on? He goes, I don't know. He goes, I need you to come here. She came out. He goes, I'm going to go check what it is. She goes, no, don't. It's not your life. Your mom and dad don't want you to die. He goes, no, I need to go check. He gives her the shotgun. He says, keep the dog in here. I'm going to open the door. If they're in the hall, I'm going to blast them. If they're not, you take the shotgun, you shut the door behind me. You don't come open it until somebody talks to you that you recognize and say, open the door. The mother's like, don't do this. And the rookie's like, this is my duty. This is my job. And by the way, this is the wrong time to tell you, but I'm in love with your daughter. So he gives the mom the shotgun. He opens the door. There's nothing in the hall, but you see claw marks all in the hall, on the walls of the hall, the floors of the hall, all over the place. Got a foul, musty smell. He's like looking around. All the other doors are shut, and they have claw marks on them. And he didn't hear the doors open and shut, so they were still shut, so he knows nobody's in those rooms. He looks back and says, ma'am, shut the door. And again, it's like, if anything happens to me, let my mom and dad know that I died doing my duty to protect and serve. She shuts the door. She goes, I will, shuts the door and leaves the dog in there. Now, from the mother's perspective of the report, she hears the deputy go downstairs. Hears him walk downstairs. She's talking to him. How is everything? He's like, it's all clear, but your house is destroyed. Banisters, walls, everything's got claw marks. And he's like, I'm going to go walk towards the kitchen. And the way the mother described this, looking at it now, it's hysterical, it's funny, but at the time, I'm sure it wasn't. You hear him walking in the hallway towards the kitchen. She can, because the floor squeak, she can hear, once he walks in the kitchen, hesitate, and hears, holy shit, they do exist. And she's like, Barney, what is it? He's not replying. Barney, what is it? He's not replying. After she heard him, it's like, holy shit, they do exist. And she opens up the door. And she's like walking out a little bit. And her kids are like, what's going on? She says, you still all stay there still. And she's like, Barney, what's going on? And you hear a crack on his voice. And it's like, you're not going to believe this, but I think we've been saved. And she looks kind of pissed. What do you mean she? They do exist. And she walks downstairs. And she's looking at the devastation. And she's like, oh my God. And she looks to her right down the hall. And she's just downstairs. And she just sees the deputy just gun in his right hand. Both of his hands are down. And all she sees is him looking to the left. She can't look in the left portion of her kitchen because she only sees down the hall. And he's like, don't worry. Like, this is going to stop you. He put his gun in his holster. He's like, we're good. Thank you. Sees his hands up like, we're good. He's patting his right hand on his chest like, we're good. I bring you no harm, as if like I'm a threat. And he looks back, gives her the thumbs up with his left hand. He's like, we're good. But I think afterwards they're going to probably want to drug test me. And she can hear something in the kitchen, heavy, swaying back and forth because you can hear the squeaking of the floor in the kitchen. And you can hear gunshots, and you hear them louder. You hear whoop whoop outside the house. Then you hear off in the distance, holy shit, no way. Because they obviously see what's on the front porch. And then you hear a big, large thud. And this is the mother telling, this is the report. The mother hears a big, large thud inside the kitchen. And the deputy kind of steps back a little bit and hunkers down. He's like, dude, I swear to God, I'm not doing anything. I'm not bringing you any harm. And you hear a growl of, like, something else there. And basically what happens through the rookie's report is, I guess the alpha male comes in. His mate, the female that crashed the door in, that's the one that jumped off. I guess the alpha male thought that the deputy was doing something, but the way the deputy said it, the female turned around and put her arms and hands on him, was like communicating in a weird way, like, no, we're good here. You heard the whoop in the front. He looks up. He goes out the back door. The alpha male goes out the back door. And before he goes out the back door, he just like this to her. And she gives like a pat on her chest and goes out the door. And then turns around and the mother's standing there. Because he didn't hear the mother walk up onto him. And she's like, oh my God, did I just witness that? And he's like, maybe you need to get drug tested too. And sees a male and a female go out the back door that they just destroyed. And then you hear all these thumping thud noises converging in between the house and the barn. You hear the sheriff and them like, oh my God, what the hell are those things? No, don't shoot, those are the good guys. You hear these things running up around the mountain, and behind the mountain, behind the house, you hear all these howls, like, all over the place. And then you hear other whoops. And everybody converged on the house, saw the damage and stuff. And the only thing we'll get into afterwards, the end of the story, because there's a lot of other stuff we're leaving out. I mean, a lot of stuff. But the state troopers got there. The local town police got there. Other sheriffs got there. They saw what happened. There's no way you can put this in a report, all this and that. There's no way werewolves and vampires existed. And you have like 20 law enforcement people there from like 4 different law enforcement agencies. And then they're telling them, they ran up there. And then off in the distance, you hear like howlings, bloody murder. Like they were being ripped and torn to shreds. Like these Bigfoots were kicking ass. Because you hear howl, then the growling and whatnot. And where the story gets even more weird, where people won't believe it, but I mean, it is what it is. They found 3 bodies 2 miles away in that direction of people, arms and limbs torn apart. And the theory is that they were the werewolves that the Bigfoots killed, but upon arrival, they transformed back into their human element, and they are now the governor of that state. That's the theory. All right, this is just opinions. We're not going to base this on facts. It's just opinions. That's the cover-up of it was some serial killer doing murders. But the state troopers turned on the sheriff. One of the sergeants turned on the sheriff, some of the other local, because the sheriff did have a drinking problem. And the sheriff told the rookie, hey, I get it. Save your career. I need you to turn on me. And the other sergeant's like, nope, I'm with you. The training sergeant's like, I'm with you. You go down, I go down. So the sheriff got fired. The acting sergeant that was training the kid got fired. They both told the kid to go along with their stories. We know the truth. We won't hold it against you. That acting sergeant, to this day, is a prominent person on YouTube that does a lot of Bigfoot stuff. We won't say who, but he's a prominent person that you see on YouTube that either can't or won't come out and say this story, but he was a former law enforcement that he does a lot of YouTube stuff on his channel, and the governor of that state covered it up and made it look like the sheriff was incompetent, he was an alcoholic, and all this incident was, hidden away. And the only reason Jeremiah came across it because he was doing a missing persons investigation with the military. We're going to state an opinion in case it's classified. We're not going to get in trouble. But Jeremiah and Stan and Anthony came across this stuff, and this happened in 2003 to 2006, I believe.
So the Bigfoots saved this family from what appeared to be a pack of werewolves, and then caught up with the werewolves and made them pay.
I know it sounds crazy. I swear to God it does. But, if it was a common Joe telling me this, I'm like, okay, good story. Make a great, movie, but I call bullshit. But when you got special forces guys that tell you this stuff, and some of the stuff they tell us, they prove to us, or we can do search and find out, oh my God, they aren't lying. I'm going to take this as fact, but this is just my opinion. But, you're not going to find anything about it. But in this area of this state, of this triangle area, there is a hairy beast that supposedly is involved in, abandoned towns, people vanishing, missing, being murdered. Maybe that hairy beast might not be a Bigfoot, but actually might be werewolves. Bigfoots are coming in and trying to clear them out. Don't know. But in this area where this happened at, there is a triangle area that weird, strange shit has happened. And you got to remember the states that we said in the first episode of this story, the first part of the story. We gave 4 states that this might have happened in. So if you know of a triangle area that has a lot of missing things that deals with a hairy beast, it might be that, but then again, it might be the bordering next state next to it. Don't know. We know, or in our opinion, we might know, but when I first heard it, I didn't believe it. Even coming from Jeremiah, but when Stan and Anthony was like, no, this happened. And you got to realize, both Stan and Anthony are very religious. Being special forces guys, they don't cuss, they don't drink, they're straight edge. One's a devout Catholic, the other one's a devout Protestant. They regret some of the things they've had to do in the military. When they tell you that, no, this, we believe, actually happened, yeah, I tend to believe this is fact, but this is only my opinion and my opinion only. And it's like what we say here on Dravo Vein, fact or fiction, truth or lies, you decide.
Is remember what we have said in previous videos, that we're going to tell you some of the stories that they do not want you to know. They could be that governor we didn't mention a name, but also other military or authorities that do not want these stories to leak out, but they do.
Let me just add something to this story, and you've had conversations with Jeremiah. I think you've met Anthony or Stan. I forgot which one you met, but they seem credible, right? Both guys, they seem credible.
Well, that's what I said earlier in this story, is that the source that this comes from is credible.
Right. So, where there's smoke, there's fire. There are things that your, country does or your military and stuff does that we'll never know. This could be one of them. I do believe in conspiracy theories.
And where there's Bigfoot prints, there are Bigfoots.
Right. When there are humanoid claw-like canine tracks, hey, listen, I'm not going to sit there and say I believe in werewolves, but hey, I'm a devout Christian, and if you believe in God, there's the devil. If you believe in good, there's evil. If you believe in light, there's darkness. And in the Bible, it says that these things exist. If you read closely in the Bible, it says these things exist. So, hey, who am I to say it's not? But I do believe in this. And again, like I said, fact or fiction, truth or lies, you decide. Until next time.